All right. Hey guys, we're on chapter still on chapter 2, I believe. Is that right? Lost count where we're at because this one's such a long chapter. No, actually chapter 3. All right. So I'm going to continue on this page. Um, remember he's in the middle of the school day and he's reflecting back to the monster apocalypse, Jack, our main character. And we're going through the events of what happened that day. All right. So here we go. That was it. The monster apocalypse had begun. Next, there was a Godzilla-sounding howl, like roar, and the whole bus suddenly shifted. I was thrown into dirt, and Quint was lifted out of the seat and spun out into the aisle. The bus driver, a nice little white-haired dude, was sobbing like a newborn. The bus became darker. Something was covering the windows, wrapping around the bus. A monster hand. The monster tilted the bus so the back pointed toward the sky. We all pinballed, plummeting down the aisle, smashing against the seats, backpacks flying through the air. We came to a sudden painful stop. Every kid on the bus piled up against the front door in a big heap. Quint, I managed. I could barely breathe. Kids all over me. An armpit in my face, a foot on my head, an ear on my nose. Quint, what's happening? I'm not sure, Jack, Quint said. Quint always had the answer to everything. This time he didn't. That almost scared me more than the monster. Almost. This monster's hulking paw squeezed the bus like it was an empty Pringles can, and the front door opened with a loud metal pop, dumping us out onto the parking lot pavement. My face bounced off the cement. Nose bleeding, blood down onto my lips and onto my tongue, and I scrambled to my feet, pulling Quint with me, leading us away from the thick crowd and the screaming and the crying. This is my nightmare now. This was a nightmare then. I got my bearings and looked around, and one single beautiful angelic face stood out in the mass of fleeing people. June Del Toro. I spotted a zombie stumbling toward her, coming up from behind. June, I screamed, my voice cracking as I strained to shout across the parking lot. Behind you! June turned, dodged the stumbling, falling zombie, left it sprawled out onto the ground, and darted inside the school. We locked eyes. And then the door slammed shut. I said to myself that whatever happened, whatever came next, somehow I'd get back to the school and find June. Where to, Jack? Quinn asked, snapping me out of it. Joe's Pizza? I think it's 2 for 1 slices today. Jack, be serious. Well, I don't know. Monster zombie chaos is new to me. I guess, run. And we did. We sprinted away from the school bus and the giant monster and the hordes of zombies. We hopped the fence into the soccer field and fled to the woods beyond it. Quint, I said, catching my breath and pulling him behind a tree. We need to find some place to go, like the police station or something. Or we need like G.I. Joe or the Avengers to show up. Or Iron Man, something. Iron Man isn't real, Jack. Robert Downey Jr.'s real. I bet he could help. Jack! Sorry, you're right, I said. He's probably busy being famous and stuff. Quint groaned. My parents are on vacation. I have a babysitter. I'll go to my house, assess the situation, and you run to your house. And I nodded. Quint held up his walkie. We stayed in touch on these at all times. Deal. I was trying to stay calm, be classic cool Jack Sullivan, but my heart was pounding and it felt like my whole body was shaking. When I got home, the car was gone and there were tire marks in the driveway. My family was gone. I climbed up into the treehouse. In my panic, I sort of collapsed onto the treehouse poker table and knocked the walkie off. The walkie bounced on the floor and out through the door. I lunged for it, but smash! I stared at the walkie on the ground below. I needed to talk to Quint, but I'm embarrassed to admit I was too scared to go down there. Too freaked out, too overwhelmed, too everything. So I curled up on the floor. I pulled a jacket down over me, and I put my earphones in to drown out the sounds of chaos outside. And I slept. I slept for days. It got worse. Zombies everywhere, giant monsters on the horizon. I blacked out the treehouse windows and stayed put. There was an old AM/FM radio in the treehouse. For the first few days, news people tried to explain what was happening. I munched on the Girl Scout cookies and potato chips while I listened to the radio guy say it was safer out west. But then, on the 5th day, there was no more radio. So again, I went back to sleep. Hang on, I'm just seeing how much more I think we need to read until we stop today. Okay. When I finally worked up the courage to go out and do some exploring. It had been 9 days since the madness in the school parking lot, and in those 9 days, everything had collapsed. Crunch! A cracking, hissing sound wakes me from my flashback nightmare. I blink twice, not sure what's happening, not sure where I am, and again, crunch! What the huh? I say, sitting up, rubbing up my eyes. It's dawn. Sun is rising, blinding me. Again, crunch! I slowly shake off the morning confusion. I remember where I am and in the treehouse, 43 days after the monster apocalypse began. And that sound, that crunch, I realized it was the walkie. I leap to my feet, almost. One leg is asleep, and I fall, slam my knee into the floor, but shake it off because I'm smooth like that. I half sprint, half limp through the treehouse, moving so fast that I bang my head on the doorway. I practically dive for that walkie. Jack, coming in. Are you there? Jack here. Jack on the mic. The voice on the other end of the walkie says, Jack, my friend, it's me. It's Quint. Quint, he's alive. But wait, a horrible, terrible, brain-poisoning thought enters my mind. Could it be a zombie trap? Could the zombies and the monsters have started to talk? If they had, this would be the perfect ruse to lure me to the doom. So I said, Quint, buddy old pal, quick question. You're alive, right? You're not like undead trying to trick me or anything, are you? I am very much alive, Jack. Phew. Wait, that's exactly what an undead Quint would say. Need to play this one cool. Quint, what's your favorite food, I ask. Brains. No! But then the walkie buzzes again and Quint says, just kidding, friend. Brussels sprouts. Surprise. Shoo. I'm so relieved my best only friend is alive that I don't bust his chops about the fact that he's 13 years old and his favorite food is Brussels sprouts. Surprise. Dude, it really is you, I exclaim. Indeed it is. Shall we meet? I have so much to show you. That's how Quint talks. He fancies himself like a scientist, so apparently that means he needs to talk like he's an old geezer from the 1800s. Don't ask. Yes, I say. Hangout time, like before all of this mess. What should we do? Video games? I have a generator for electricity. Yes, video games, Quint says. We can play here. I'll see you in a short while, Jack. So I smile ear to ear. Literally, the corner of my lip is touching my earlobe. Quint, that's the best sentence I've ever heard in my life. We over and out. And then I get to really waking up. Yawn, stretch, pee, touch my toes, hawk a loogie, splash water on my face from the bucket of rainwater I keep outside. Time to plot a route to Quint's house and add a new entry to my feats of apocalyptic success. All right, so him and Quint are getting ready to meet for the first time in a long time. And tomorrow we will find out how that goes. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Work hard.